All right, now it's time to pull out the ace card from the bottom of the deck. Now it's time to make the final move and score checkmate. Let's face facts here. Throughout this whole negotiation process, there's been back and forth, hypocrisy on both sides to some degree, but clearly more inconsistencies and more hypocrisy on the side of Team Joshua and Eddie Hearn. As everyone knows, breaking news today, this morning, WBA has ordered Anthony Joshua to make a decision within the next 24 hours on whether or not he is going to fight Alexander Povetkin next. And this news conveniently comes after news that broke yesterday that Deontay Wilder's advisor, Shelly Finkel, had said that he is going to send the contract over on Friday. So how convenient this falls right into place. So let's talk about this. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned this or brought this up before, but if you guys remember when Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua fought, and Anthony Joshua defended his IBF title, and he fought for the vacant WBA title. The IBF, before that fight, said the winner of this fight must fight Kubrat Pulev next. Okay, that was understood. That was made known. Now, Povetkin's been the WBA mandatory for a long time. And it was well aware to Team Joshua that this was the case. Just as it was well aware to Team Joshua that after the Klitschko fight, the winner of that fight would have to face Kubrat Pulev next. But if you recall, after that fight, they were really intent and interested in having the Vladimir Klitschko rematch because the first fight did so well financially and because it was such a good fight, it was a can't miss for the rematch. So what did they do? What did Team Joshua and Eddie Hearn do? They filed the paperwork with the IBF to request for an optional defense so they can go ahead and rematch Vladimir Klitschko. And they even took a shot at Tyson Fury, saying that we followed the proper paperwork, whereas Tyson Fury did not. That's why he was stripped and we were not. So wouldn't you think if they were really interested and so concerned and so enthusiastic about fighting Deontay Wilder, like Deontay Wilder is in regards to fighting Anthony Joshua, it's clear that he wants to fight more. Wouldn't you think that Eddie Hearn would have filed paperwork well in advance with WBA saying we are going to request an optional defense. We want to unify the titles with Deontay Wilder. This is what we want to do. Do we have permission? Instead of waiting to the 13th hour to do so, letting it drag on. So there was no sense of urgency to file the proper paperwork to ensure that no problems would happen and no stumbling blocks would arise in order to make this fight with Deontay Wilder. Just as they did with the Vladimir Klitschko situation. Vladimir Klitschko decided he was going to retire. So then the mandatory was then enforced. Just like in this situation, they could have filed paperwork for the optional defense, paid Povetkin the step-aside money, and could have told Povetkin, you will definitely get the winner of this fight. And we wouldn't be where we are today, right now, here. But given Eddie Hearn, the things he's been saying, given the statements made by Eddie Hearn, I should say, all along saying we have a deal in place with Povetkin. We already have it, a date and venue squared away for Povetkin, that just gives you the evidence and the indication that there was really no sense of urgency from his side to get this Wilder fight next, just as there was a sense of urgency to get that Klitschko rematch, because they felt that they could do the same thing in the rematch, and they felt they could make a lot of money in the rematch, and they felt that it would be a can't-miss situation. So why was the same enthusiasm not brought to the table, the same sense of urgency that he's criticizing Team Wilder's side for not having? Why was that not brought into the negotiations for this fight? That's what you have to ask yourself. So this could have easily been solved because Deontay Wilder, he already had got permission from the WBC. They've already said we are not going to stand in the way here. So they've already established the fact that Team Wilder has gotten permission from the WBC that, hey, you can go ahead with this fight. Just as Gennady Golovkin, WBC said to Gennady Golovkin, we will allow you to fight Canelo next, and only Canelo next. And if you don't fight Canelo next, then you're going to have to fight Jamal Charlo. So these were, agreements already made beforehand. Because guess what? Team Golovkin and Team Alvarez, regardless of what was going on between the two sides, they knew that that was the biggest fight available, and they knew that they really wanted that fight. Just as Eddie Hearn really knew that he wanted the Klitschko rematch. But did Eddie Hearn really ever want this fight next? And if so, why was not the paperwork filed to ensure that there would be no roadblocks? That's what you have to ask yourself. And I know people are saying, yeah, Deontay Wilder has the contract in his hand. Why didn't he just sign it and FedEx it back there and expedite it back there to Team Hearn? Well, why weren't you guys saying the same thing when the $50 million offer was on the table? Why did he not accept that? Or, would you expect him just to sign regardless of what the contract says or regardless of what the agreement says? So, yeah, Deontay Wilder agreed to terms, and there was a dialogue on his Twitter where someone said, why don't you sign? And he said that the contract was not the same as what the agreement was. And when you look at a contract, you don't just sign it. Even though Shelley Finkel is the manager, Al Heyman is the advisor, you need to have a lawyer or a legal team look at it, because I'm sure there's some ambiguities on that contract that need clarification, whether they be big or whether they be small. Sometimes something that's small, sometimes when you don't read the fine print and it may not look very significant on the surface, it could turn into something bigger down the road if you didn't do your due diligence. So apparently there's something there that was not agreed upon verbally, okay? That was not put in the offer letter, the initial offer. And they need clarification on that. And I'm sure they have to still go over every little detail of that contract to make sure there's no small print. There's nothing that can come back to bite them in the butt later, which is what anyone would do. When you're going to sign a deal, you as a consumer or you as an employee, you're being offered a job and they send you an offer letter. And you, during the interview, they say, hey, you know what? We're going to give you 2 weeks vacation and we're going to give you such and such a salary. And I'll have that offer letter sent out to you by the end of the week. You get the offer letter and it's not the same as what you guys spoke about. Are you going to sign that offer letter? No. You're going to send it back and you're going to call them and say, hey, I was supposed to get 2 weeks instead of 1. This letter only says 1. So why can't you apply the same logic to this situation? When it was put forth And everyone was saying, well, why can't Joshua just agree to the terms? Why can't he just agree to the terms? Everyone was like, everyone on the Joshua side was like, oh, well, he just can't sign his life away. He's got to make sure that, you know, he gets what he's supposed to get. What if he just signs it and then he finds out he's got to do this, this, and this? So why can't you apply that same logic to this situation? Why? Why not? So this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the hypocrisy. Why would you be talking so much about a Povetkin fight if you really wanted a fight with Deontay Wilder? You don't hear Deontay Wilder mentioning anyone else's name. Everyone else on their side is mentioning Dominic Breazeale. When have you ever said, hey, this fight doesn't happen? We'll just go fight Dominic Breazeale. They've never once uttered that statement. Never once. Why? Because they want the Joshua fight. Open your fucking eyes, people. You got to see what's going on here. Okay? Team Wilder did the due diligence. They made sure there was going to be no problems with the WBC. They made sure of that. They made sure they got assurances from Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC that they would not take action. They would not stand in the way. Why did Team Hearn not do the same thing on their side in regards to the WBA? I'll tell you why. Because the plan was to pull this fuck show during the 13th hour. And if you can't fucking see that, you're fucking blind. All you have to do is go back and look. Go on the Wikipedia. Go on the Wikipedia of Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. Pull it up. Read it from top to bottom. And it will tell you it was agreed that the winner of this fight will have to fight Pulev. And that did not happen. At least it did not happen immediately. It was not enforced because the paperwork was filed by Team Joshua and Eddie Hearn. And it wasn't done this time because there was no intention or sense of urgency to have this fight. Okay? So this just shuts everyone up. You can't blame Team Wilder for this. You can't. Okay? You can't. And Eddie Hearn offered the 12.5 and it went up to 15. So they already knew. They already knew that was a lowball bullshit offer. They already knew that. That's why they increased it. So if that was such a great offer, Eddie, then why did you increase it? Because you know it wasn't a great offer. You knew it. You knew it. So this is just so frustrating that they're insulting everyone's intelligence the way they are. This is a fuck show. This is a fuck show. And why is it a fuck show? Because Eddie Hearn created this fuck show. And I'm telling you, you can say whatever you want. This Povetkin fight is not an easy fight. It is not a layup. It's not an ongoing conclusion. It's not a foregone conclusion, excuse me. I'm so fucking aggravated right now, I can't even freaking speak a coherent sentence. It is not a foregone conclusion that he wins that fight. It's not. It's not. Georgie in the chat says Wilder's to blame. So you mean to tell me that Eddie Hearn could not have filed paperwork and request an optional defense? Okay, he could not request an optional defense and pay Povetkin step-aside money. That he couldn't have done that like he did with Pulev. So why did he do it in the Pulev situation? Let's be objective here. Let's be objective and cut out all the bullshit. Cut out all, Wikipedia can be changed by anyone. Okay, so then why was Pulev not the immediate fight after Joshua beat Klitschko then, if he was the mandatory? Can you answer that question? All you people. All you people. And if Wikipedia is wrong, then they have to correct it. They have to correct it. They cannot put false information out there or they can get in trouble for that. Okay? Bullshit. Show me where you can find any article that Pulev was not supposed to fight the winner of that fight. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Because I'll get 20 links. I'll go get 20 links to prove that he was supposed to fight, but Hearn filed the paperwork in order for the Klitschko rematch to happen. And then when the Klitschko rematch didn't happen, then he was supposed to fight Pulev, and Pulev pulled out because he was hurt. So stop with the bullshit. Stop with the bullshit. Okay. So Wikipedia is a garbage source. So why is it a great source when it supports your point? So you guys will pull up BoxRec, you'll pull up Wikipedia, you'll get all the links in the world. You'll get all the links in the world to support your position or what you believe. But then when it doesn't work, all of a sudden, it's bullshit. So you guys just want confirmation bias. So BoxRec sucks when it doesn't suit your narrative. Wikipedia sucks when it doesn't suit your narrative. Boxing Scene's a friggin' tabloid bullshit website when it doesn't suit your narrative. Ring TV sucks when it doesn't suit your narrative. The fuck out of here. Prove me wrong. Pulev was supposed to fight the winner of that fight. Prove me wrong. Send me links on my Twitter. Send me links in this chat. So if I'm not wrong, then what's the fucking argument? What's the fucking argument if I am not wrong? Tell me why. What's the argument? Explain to me why Hearn did not file paperwork with the WBA to ensure there would be no roadblocks in setting up this fight. I'm not saying Wikipedia mandates anything. I'm not saying that. But again, if they were putting out false information, don't you think the website would be taken down? Don't you think they'd be sued? Don't you think there'd be defamation suits? You guys, so you've never you've never used Wikipedia. You're not going to sit there and tell me you have never, ever used Wikipedia as a source. Never. Never. To get someone's birthday, to get someone's record. So is BoxRec a stupid source? I mean, doesn't even if I was biased towards Wilder, even if I was, you still haven't answered the question. Why? Can anyone answer the question? Can anyone answer the question? Why did Eddie Hearn not file the paperwork with the WBA like he did file paperwork with the IBF to ensure that he had that Klitschko rematch? And then if the fight ends up not happening, then you enforce the mandatory. Then you fall back on the Povetkin. The Povetkin thing should be the last resort, but it doesn't look like it's the last resort. It looks like it was the plan all along. That's what you have to ask yourself. You guys won't challenge anybody. You won't challenge. You guys won't challenge it. No one, see, everyone's going to sit there and pull up red herrings and straw man arguments. And instead of looking at the facts, now they're going to criticize the source because they don't like the argument. So what I will do is after this, I'll go get multiple sources, and I'll even ask and reach out to Eddie Hearn. And then I'll pull up YouTube videos where Eddie Hearn was making fun of Tyson Fury for not filing the paperwork with the IBF, and that's why he got stripped. And basically saying that they were smarter than Team Fury and they filed the paperwork. That's why they were not stripped. So then I'll do that. Is that what you want me to do? So you're more concerned with Wikipedia than Eddie Hearn's hypocrisy. But none of you can sit there and prove me wrong. So you want to create you want to deflect, and you want to do a straw man argument right now, and now you want to question the credibility of Wikipedia, which is fine. You can do that. You can do that. But can you tell me that I can't find videos with Eddie Hearn saying it out of his mouth? Are you going to tell me I can't do that either? Are you going to tell me I can't do that either? So let's just face this for what it is. let's just face this for what it is. So, Georgie, if I offered you a job that normally would pay $20 an hour, and then I offered you $10 an hour, would you take it just because it was the first offer? You're not making sense, brother. You're not making sense. You're not making sense. If anyone can explain to me, why Eddie Hearn did not file the paperwork at the WBA like he did with the IBF, and we wouldn't even be in this position right now if he did that. If he handled this fight the same way he handled the Klitschko rematch, then would we be here right now? Yes or no? Yes or no? Would we be here right now? Would the WBA be knocking on their door, putting out this deadline right now if he filled out the paperwork? You know why I'm upset? You know why I'm upset? Because it's bullshit, and I want to see the. I'm upset because I want to see the fight. I want to see the fight, and there's no reason why we can't see the fight. It's the biggest money fight in the heavyweight division, and that's why I'm upset, because it couldn't make any more sense to have this fight happen, but it's not. So it pisses me off. So if I want to be upset, I'm going to be upset, and the reason why I'm upset is it's stupidity. It's stupidity. But you're not answering the question. No one's answering the question. Nobody is answering the question. No one's answering the question. Yeah, but he didn't accept the $12.5 million. That's true, but then he got 15. He got 15. So he got what he was supposed to get. Okay, so the A side can do whatever they want. So you guys make sure that moving forward, that's your mentality. So you can't accuse Cotto of being a diva. You can't accuse Floyd Mayweather of being a diva. You can't ever look back then and sit there and say Canelo's a diva. You can't say any of these things if you're gonna take this stance now. So you just because someone's the A side, then they can sit there and treat the B side unfairly. They can lie to the B side. They can say one thing and then send a contract that says another. They're allowed to do that. Okay, that's fine. If these are your values, then stick to your values. Stick to your values across the board. Stick to your values. Oh, you can't sit there and say, oh, Floyd was a pussy. He wouldn't let Maidana use his gloves. Oh, Floyd was a pussy for not fighting Pacquiao. I was using the drug. You have to adapt those principles and values with every fighter now. If that's your stance now, moving forward. If that's what you guys want to do. You can't call one fighter a prima donna, and now you can't and sit there and say he's being a diva, and now you can't look at this situation and say it's not happening here. It's fucking bullshit. I've made my point. No one's answered my question. No one's proved my point wrong, because it's all could have been avoided if Eddie Hearn did the same thing he did with Klitschko. That did that same thing to Wilder. He applied the same situation. So it is what it is, man. I put it out there. Facts are facts. This is not opinion. This is not opinion. You can. I'm gonna after this. I'm going to put a link to the video where Eddie Hearn said it, and there will be nothing to refute here. Nothing to refute. Beavers out till next time. Have a great day. Peace out. And Povetkin-Joshua will probably be announced on Friday. Have a good one, guys.